If you thought Firewalk Studios' upcoming 5v5 team hero shooter Concord could not get any worse, you would be wrong. It got a lot worse. In fact, we have a new report that says that the open beta player numbers declined 8% compared to the early access numbers on PlayStation 5. Before we get to this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. Also, hit that like button. Let's get more people to watch this video and beat the YouTube algorithm. I wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com, and this new report comes to us from Kess Ehlers Stevenson at True Trophies. He reports that the open beta, which ran from July 18 to July 21st, had 8% less players on PlayStation than the much more restricted early access beta that ran from July 12th to the 14th. This is what he reported. Using a gameplay data sample from over 3.1 million active PlayStation Network accounts, courtesy of our partnership with Game Insights, we can see that Concord has 8.1% fewer players in the second open beta than in the early access beta. That's right. It dropped. The player base dropped over 8% from the early access to the open beta. Less people were playing the game when more people had the option to play it. And in fact, they posted this on the PlayStation blog that the open beta, the second one, which saw an 8% decline from early access, was, quote, available to all players on PlayStation 5 and PC. So this game was available to anyone who has an internet connection and PlayStation 5. And it had less people playing it, over 8% less people playing it than when it was just the early access. They were limiting it to pre-orders. Then clearly no one had pre-ordered this game. So they opened it up to PlayStation Plus members on PlayStation. So that's all they had for that. And it declined. When it opened up to anyone, it declined. And you just can't make this stuff up. It lost players from early access to open beta. Just absolutely wild. I didn't even expect this. They're losing players. But Stevenson goes on and says this: in our PlayStation chart that ranks the top 40 most popular games every week, Concord ranked in the number 29 position both weeks. So despite losing players, it still stayed in that 29th position. And so this comes in the wake of SteamDB data showing that the peak concurrent players for the game on Steam only hit 2,388 on July 18th when the open beta went live. By the end of the open beta, the game was only hitting a peak concurrent of 1,117 players. That was around Sunday night. Usually peak is around 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. So absolutely disastrous. You can see right here how it kind of hit that peak and slowly declined over the weekend during the open beta. And that's similar to what we saw here from the early access open beta, which only hit a peak of 1,124 concurrent players. So not looking good here. Obviously, there was a 112% increase from early access to the open beta. However, you're still looking at less than 2,500 peak concurrent players in the open beta when the game is free. Anyone could have played it, could have downloaded it, gotten it for free. And just kind of put that in perspective, they're going to be charging $40 for this game. So people weren't even playing this game when it was free. Do you think people are going to be playing this game when they're charging $40 for it? I don't think so. I think people saw enough and moved on. And people who did play it were not impressed. Not impressed at all. I think this is probably my favorite quote about this game. Came from YouTuber Dreamcast Guy. He described the game as Walmart brand Overwatch. It's a hero shooter that doesn't really have any of that spark of crazy originality. He wasn't the only one to kind of denigrate the game after playing it. You had Angry Joe saying, how is the game? It's mid. It's not worth $40. Everybody's saying this, and it's true. It would be great as a free-to-play game because, to be honest, it does have its moments. The graphics actually look good. It has some great character animations, some good facial expressions. There are high-quality cutscenes, even if the story is not all that interesting. But he went on and said this: the maps are not memorable. Pretty much every single other hero shooter has better maps. Overwatch, Marvel Rivals. These maps aren't very good, so that's a problem. And then finally, I didn't feel much of a sense of progression. So absolutely torching the game aside from its graphics and animations. And that was kind of what I saw from a lot of people that did indeed play this game. They were kind of saying the same thing. So this game is definitely dead on arrival. And the big question now is just how much money is Firewalk Studios and PlayStation Studios going to lose on this game? That's really the question. It's not about whether or not this game is going to succeed. It's just how bad is it going to fail? But those are my thoughts on this. Let me know what you guys think of the player base on PlayStation actually declining from early access to open beta. Just terrible, totally dead. Just how bad is it going to be? Let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, but to always speak the truth.